guys, it is Rabbitcrafter here, and today we will be playing, we will be reacting to some Storybooth stories. They're animations, and we got my boy, Tyler. So, come on, scooch over. So he will be with us today. Scooch over more. See the little face cam right there? So you can see your face in there. Okay, so let's get right into it. Start the video.
I've always been one of the only Jewish people in my town. I'm not super religious, my parents didn't force their religion on me, but I still believed in it. In elementary school, a lot of kids went to church, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's allowed to have their own religion, but they didn't really see it that way. And a lot of them would overhear their parents, or they'd hear churches talking about how if you didn't worship their religion, you would go to hell. And I don't think anyone realizes that kids learn and they imitate what they see. So, of course, I'd be on the playground or doing whatever, and kids would come up to me and tell me that Jewish people were trying to take over the world and that we were all super greedy money hogs and that if we didn't worship their religion, we were all going to hell. And I wasn't the only person who faced hate. It was also Muslim kids. A lot of them were told that Muslims were terrorists and that they still probably had contact with people who did 9/11. I used to actually go home and I would cry because I thought I was going to hell if I didn't go to church. Like, I asked my parents to go to a Christian church before I even knew what that meant. That's not the way kids should be introduced to other religions. They should be introduced as religion can be a good thing. It can bring people together. And it was before I even knew what the cross stood for. Like, I used to see people with them all the time and wondered what the T-shaped necklace meant until one of my very, very close friends who went to church explained to me what it was. Parents had just said that some people believe in different things and they have a right to believe. It's like ice cream. If you force your belief down my throat, I'm not going to want it, but some people like different types of ice cream or different types of belief, and that's okay. That doesn't make them a terrible person. But what does is telling other people that they're terrible just because they like a different ice cream flavor than you. You know, I don't hate Christians or Catholics or anyone. I just wish that someone had told these kids not to repeat the things that they heard anti-Semitic or Islamophobic people say. Like, before people even knew what the word Muslim meant, they knew the word terrorist. And before they even knew what the term Jewish meant, they just knew we were bad. I remember back in middle school when they told everyone about the Middle East, they had said Jesus was a Jew, and everyone gasped and was so shocked. To me, it made me realize how stupid everyone was being. Everyone was hating each other just because of religion. In high school, no one really gave me any problems, except for one girl, but I didn't really care at that point. Anyone who judges somebody off of what they think is going to happen after we die isn't worth your time.
That one was good.
Yep, I like that one.
Oh my god, we totally jumped.
Okay, so that one was good. That one was kind of a sad one. There's a bunch of different ones. There's scary ones, there's happy ones, there's sad ones like that one. Okay, so come on. Okay, so this is the next one. Look, scoot back a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so this is the next one. It's called I Am Not a Terrorist. Mean kids at school. So, let's get right into it.
It was at primary school that I started to wear scarves as I was a Muslim, and every time I used to go to school, everyone used to make fun of me because I'm a Muslim, and you know those terrorist attacks. There was this one time where some girl on this game actually let go of me for being a Muslim.
Wow.
One time a girl actually kicked me because I was a Muslim. I would sometimes go in my room and cry. I had to tell the teacher everyone was being racist to me. But At least I still had some of my friends to support me when I was feeling blue. I always get bullied about me being a Muslim, and I'm gonna be planting some bombs around. But I love being a Muslim. Yes, we have to hide our hair. Yes, we have to hide our skin. But we all are beautiful. Just the same way.
That one was good. Okay. Okay, guys, so this is the next one. It's called I Was Scared of the Man Sitting Next to Me. YouTuber Sheer Levy's story. Alright, let's get right into it.
A couple years ago, I was on a flight by myself. I was sitting quietly in my chair, relaxing before takeoff, just reading a book, and suddenly a man just appeared next to me. Sat down without saying hello, without acknowledging me, without looking at me even. That man was probably in his mid-40s. He had a long, dark beard, and as the flight attendants prepared the plane to take off, the man started mumbling to himself in Arabic. He was shaking and sweating profusely and shifting in his chair a lot. The plane began its takeoff, and the man started mumbling to himself stronger and stronger. I was sitting next to him, completely terrified. I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. All I could think about was just to focus on my breathing. 5 in, 5 out. Breathe in, breathe out. The only thing I could do to not lose my mind. But as I was focusing on my breath, I suddenly noticed on my lap the book that I was reading beforehand, and I noticed one specific line that I marked for myself to read. When fear is present in us, we bring awareness to it. We smile to it and call it by its true name. I noticed that the man that was sitting next to me was looking over at the book that I was holding in my hands, and without thinking twice, I offered it to him. I just said, "It's a great book." The man took the book in his hands, looked over at me and asked me, "What's it about?" And I answered, "It's about peace." The man looked at the book, read it a little bit, and then looked back at me and asked me, "Where are you from?" And although I was still scared, I took a deep breath and I looked back at him and said, "I'm from Israel." He got quiet for a moment, but then he said that the media in his country portrays Israelis as evil people. But here we are, the both of us, sharing a book about peace. We both smiled in relief, and before I knew it, this man that was a complete, terrifying stranger to me just 10 minutes ago was sharing with me pictures of his home and his family, and even one very, very personal fact about him. He was afraid of flying. I remember myself at 12 years old, sitting in my living room and watching the live broadcast of the airplanes hitting the World Trade Center at 9/11. I remember how much fear I felt from uncertainty, from not knowing who did this. And I remember the newspapers that followed that day that were filled with pictures of men that looked exactly like that man that sat next to me on the airplane. Our real power as human beings is our ability to become mindful in a situation and to see the whole picture, to acknowledge the fear that runs us from the inside and to choose to act differently when we can. So maybe we can take the 15th anniversary of 9/11 as a reminder to ourselves that change has to begin with us and that we have so much power because we are truly, truly in this together.
That one was good. Yeah, I like that one.
On some days I actually get scared.
I like that one because it was like I thought it was gonna be bad. I was scared at first,
I'm like, he's gonna pull a gun, shoot her. She's dead.
and then it was like happy at the end. They were both
Dude,
nice
do you
to
wanna
each
get the
other.
image?
Okay, so this one is called "I Lost My Hair." So, I guess let's get into it. I think she has cancer.
I
or
was
something.
born with a condition called alopecia, which means
Alopecia.
my hair follicles just weren't working and I never grew any hair on my head. So I was basically bald for most of my life
That's not
because there's different types of alopecia. There's one where your hair can grow back and fall out, and there's one where it doesn't grow back. And I had that type, so it was pretty hard, like, having no hair for most of my childhood. And I had to wear wigs and stuff, and it just wasn't very good. Whenever I was at sleepovers, they'd be like, oh my god, we should do our hair. And I just couldn't get my hair done because I didn't have any. And there was a few times where there were bullies and people were mean to me. Like one time in school, a boy pulled my wig off in front of everyone and everyone stared. It wasn't good. And then there's like a few times where I was confident enough to go out with no hair without putting on my wig, and there'd be people staring, pointing, laughing, and it was sad. But the good things that came with having no hair were I never got head lice. Like I remember getting a note home saying, there's head lice in your class, you should check your child's hair and stuff. And I never had to get checked, and I never had to get treated. I never had head lice because I just didn't have hair. And I'm also on a website called the Rapunzel Foundation, where children can donate their hair to people that don't have it. And actually, when I turned 10, my hair started to grow again, and I was like, this is so weird, why is this happening? And it grew and it grew and it kept growing. And then I got some hair extensions when it was long enough, and I had them for about a year. And then I decided I don't want them anymore, I want my own hair. And so I got them out, I got my hair trimmed, and it was just like a dream come true. I'd never gone out with my own head of hair, and it was just so great. And I was so happy, I was so confident.
That was happy and sad.
Yeah.
First it was sad, and then it got like super happy. I didn't expect her to grow her hair back. Okay, so I think that ends today's video, guys. Always remember to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see all my videos first. Goodbye.